Walter Mitty is introduced as a quiet, ordinary man living a very routine life. He works at Life magazine, and one of the first things we see is him stressing over his rising expenses at home. At the same time, he signs up on an online dating website, and the reason is simple. Cheryl Melhoff, a co-worker who joined the office about a month ago. Walter has been silently observing her likes and dislikes because he genuinely wants a place in her life. He finally gathers the courage to send her a request, but an error suddenly appears. And just like that, another normal day begins. While waiting for the metro, Walter calls the dating site's customer support and talks to Todd, explaining the problem. Todd checks his profile and tells him the request failed because Walter's profile is incomplete. Right then, Walter hears a dog barking. He instantly runs toward the sound, and in his imagination, he becomes a full-action hero. He dives into a building, rescues the dog, walks out dramatically, and an explosion erupts behind him. The dog turns out to be Cheryl's, and she thanks him for his bravery. Then the fantasy snaps. Walter opens his eyes and realizes the metro has already left without him. That's the secret of Walter Mitty's life. He daydreams with his eyes open. He eventually reaches the office where his younger sister Odessa shows up with his favorite cake, sent by their mother for his birthday. But Walter, distracted and emotionally distant, barely reacts. He just tells Odessa to take care of their mother and moves on. Soon after, in the elevator, co-workers talk about how life is shifting online and many employees may lose their jobs. A man standing with them introduces himself as the new boss, brought in to decide who stays and who goes. This hits Walter hard because he works as a negative assets manager, handling the photo negatives for the magazine. If the magazine goes fully digital, his role may become useless. Anxious, Walter heads to his office and meets his co-worker Hernando, who tells him a new roll of negatives arrived that morning from legendary photojournalist Sean O'Connell. Walter and Sean have worked together for 16 years, yet they've never met in person. After learning the magazine is shutting down, Sean sends Walter a gift, a wallet and a letter, as a thank you to his longtime partner. In the letter, Sean says, negative number 25 should be used as the cover image for the final print issue of Life. He also tells Walter to open the gift and look inside. Walter checks the wallet and finds the company's motto inside, which deeply moves him. But the moment is interrupted when Hernando shows him the negatives. Negative number 25 is missing. Before Walter can process that, another employee arrives with a message. The new boss wants to see photo 25 immediately. Meanwhile, Ted Hendricks, the new boss, announces to the staff that Sean's image will be used for the final issue and demands the photo. Walter avoids the truth for the moment by saying the negative has already been sent for processing. After the meeting, Walter takes the chance to speak to Cheryl for the first time and asks if she can help him get Sean's address. Cheryl explains that because Sean is always traveling, the company doesn't have a permanent address for him. Later, while examining Sean's photos, Hernando notices something useful. Images 24 through 27 look like they were taken around the same time. Walter asks for prints, hoping they can use them to trace Sean's location. At lunch, Walter studies the photos carefully. Cheryl sees what he's doing and asks to see photo 25. With no way to avoid it, Walter admits the truth. The negative is missing, and finding Sean has suddenly become urgent. Seeing how overwhelmed he is, Cheryl gives him a smart suggestion. Sean often leaves an oddball clue in his photos, so Walter should search for a hidden hint. Around the same time, Walter gets a call from Odessa. Their mother's favorite piano won't fit in the new apartment, so they may have to move again. Odessa also gives Walter one of his childhood toys. The moment stirs old memories. While helping with packing, Walter finds an old travel bag and a travel journal his father once gifted him, and it brings back a wave of emotion. Then, Hernando messages him, and Walter rushes back to work. There, Hernando shows him another photo. Looking closely, Walter spots a board/sign in the image. He goes to Cheryl for help, and she searches the details online to identify it. But Cheryl then gets a message reminding her to pick up her son, so she asks Walter to come along. While Cheryl tries to get Sean's address from a colleague, Walter spends time with her son and teaches him a few skateboarding tricks, which helps them bond quickly. After Cheryl rechecks the details, they realize the address leads to Nuuk, the capital of Greenland. The moment Walter sees that, his anxiety rises. Back at the office, a co-worker tells him they've searched everywhere, but the missing photo is still nowhere to be found. Walter looks again at Sean's photographs, and in his mind, it feels like Sean O'Connell is calling him forward, urging him to come find him. This time, Walter listens to his heart. He drops everything, rushes out of the office, and heads straight to the airport, where he catches a flight to Nuuk. For the first time, it feels like his life is finally taking off toward a real purpose. Walter arrives in Nuuk the next morning. From there, he hires a ride and reaches the restaurant Cheryl helped trace through the address. He asks the owner about Sean, and she says that a few days earlier, they made a helicopter delivery to the same ship seen in the photograph. Before Walter can ask more, a drunk man nearby starts a fight with him. During the scuffle, Walter notices the man's thumb and realizes he is the same helicopter pilot from the photo. The pilot tells Walter he gave Sean a lift to that ship and believes Sean likely took the picture during that trip. He says he is flying out again that day for another delivery and offers Walter a ride. But seeing the bad weather and the pilot's drunken state, Walter refuses. Frustrated and crushed by another setback, he starts losing hope. Then he suddenly hears a voice behind him. It is Cheryl, at least in his imagination, encouraging him not to give up. Walter bursts forward with a new wave of energy, sprints toward the helicopter, and this time actually makes it aboard. Even the pilot is shocked, and Walter is too. Now he is one step closer. After a few hours of flying, they spot the ship. The pilot tells Walter to take the delivery box and jump onto the rescue boat below. But in the confusion, Walter jumps toward the ship instead and falls straight into the freezing ocean. The box slips from his hands, and as soon as he surfaces, a shark lunges at him. At the last second, rescuers pull him to safety and bring him aboard the ship. Once on board, Walter learns Sean O'Connell left just a few hours earlier on a smaller boat heading for Iceland. Walter asks the crew to send Sean a radio message, but the captain tells him the radio is broken. In fact, the helicopter Walter arrived on was supposed to deliver radio parts that same day. So once again, Walter is left disappointed. Then another crew member, seeing how defeated he looks, offers him leftover cake Sean had brought. While eating, Walter notices the wrapper, and inside it, Sean has written a list for his next morning's photo shoot. Walter asks about the location and learns it is a famous volcano in Iceland. Since the radio is broken, the ship now has to stop in Iceland too. And with that, a new morning begins in Walter's life. One of the crewmen tells him how to get there and advises him to grab a bicycle quickly, the one the crew had planned to use for sightseeing. Once again, Walter races toward his goal. He beats everyone else to the bicycle and sets off on another unknown journey, one that gives him a real sense of freedom and peace. But during the ride, he gets distracted by thoughts of Cheryl, loses focus, and crashes. Even then, his determination to meet Sean pulls him back to his feet, and he keeps moving. After a long ride, he reaches the next town and sees a group of children outside a hotel. He asks them for directions to the volcano, but they cannot understand his language and laugh at him. Then, Walter notices their skateboard. In classic Walter fashion, he trades the childhood toy his sister gave him in exchange for help and the skateboard, then goes inside the hotel to ask for directions, but the hotel appears empty. As he keeps searching, he reaches the back of the building and finds the hotel owner packing his things. Walter asks about Sean, and the owner says Sean stayed there the previous night and left that morning for a nearby village. Before he can explain further, the owner suddenly starts running, and Walter follows him uphill. From the top, Walter sees the village below. Without wasting a second, he launches down the slope on the skateboard like a free bird racing toward his destination. Within moments, he reaches the village. But just like the hotel, the village seems deserted. Before Walter can understand why, emergency alarms begin sounding. The hotel owner catches up and explains that the volcano is about to erupt and everyone is already evacuated. At that exact moment, Walter looks toward the sky and sees Sean in an airplane, risking his life to get closer to the volcano for the perfect shot. Realizing the danger, Walter and the hotel owner run for their lives and barely escape safely. They finally reach the edge of town, where the man drops Walter near a hotel, says goodbye, and leaves. Walter counts his money again. His savings are running low, and with them, his confidence starts fading too. And in the middle of that struggle, he receives a message from Hernando saying he has been fired and must return to the office immediately. As soon as Walter gets Hernando's message, he leaves and returns home. He goes straight to the office, where Ted Hendricks confronts him and demands the missing photo. Walter tries to explain, but Ted refuses to listen and fires him on the spot. Then, Hernando tells Walter something worse. Ted has fired Cheryl too. Walter goes to Cheryl's house, but the man who opens the door is her ex-husband. He goes inside to call Cheryl, while Walter quietly leaves the skateboard outside and walks away. After that, Walter goes to his mother's new home. His sister asks him to tip the delivery boy, and while pulling out cash, he notices the wallet Sean gave him. Frustrated, he throws it in the trash. Then, defeated, he studies one of Sean's photographs. That is when he notices the piano. Something clicks. Walter asks his mother about it, and she tells him a man visited a few weeks earlier, spoke warmly about Walter, took that photograph, and took the cake she had made. He finally tells his mother the truth. After hearing everything, she urges him to find Sean quickly. Walter searches the clues again and discovers Sean's next location, the Hindu Kush Mountains in Afghanistan. He sees his old travel bag again, almost like a sign, and prepares for one more journey. After days of travel, Walter reaches Afghanistan and hires 2 mountain men to guide him into the highlands. On the way, he runs into armed men, but calms the situation by sharing the cake his mother sent. After one obstacle after another, he reaches the mountains. There, the guides tell him he must continue alone. As Walter climbs higher, Todd from the dating site calls again and says Walter's profile is getting many requests from women, just not Cheryl. Tired and distracted, Walter tells Todd to shut the account down. Then a man nearby tells him to keep his voice down. It's Sean O'Connell. Walter is stunned to finally meet him, and Sean is just as surprised. They talk, and Walter says he never found negative number 25 and lost his job because of it. Sean explains the truth. The photo was hidden inside the wallet, exactly as hinted in the letter when he told Walter to open the gift properly. Walter tells Sean everything, and for a moment they sit together in disappointment. Then Sean spots something through his lens and asks Walter to look. It's a rare snow leopard. Walter urges Sean to take the picture, but Sean quietly refuses, saying some beautiful moments should be lived, not captured. Sean points to children playing football in the valley and tells Walter to go live that moment too. For the first time, Walter truly lets go of his worries and joins the children. He plays, laughs, and loses track of time until evening. Carrying those memories, Walter begins his journey home. But when he returns, immigration officers detain him because he has come back from Afghanistan. They say he needs someone to post bail. With almost no money left, Walter thinks of only one person. Todd. Like Sean once was, Todd began as a stranger. But through time and circumstance, that stranger had quietly become a friend. The next day, Walter is at a museum with his family. Because of their situation, they are forced to sell the piano. During this, his mother hands him the wallet he had thrown away. Walter is overwhelmed with joy. He kisses his mother and immediately takes out the hidden photo. But instead of opening it, he goes straight to the Life office. There, he places the photo on Ted Hendricks' desk and asks him to repeat the company motto. Ted says nothing. Walter calmly says goodbye and reminds him that the people he fired spent their lives honoring that motto. The next day, Walter sits in a cafe searching for jobs. He gets an email from Cheryl's son, thanking him for the skateboard and sharing a video Cheryl made. Watching it, Walter becomes emotional. A few days later, Walter returns to the company to settle his account and sees Cheryl there. He rushes to her and tells her that whenever he nearly gave up, the thought of her kept pushing him through the journey. Cheryl clears up the misunderstanding. The man at the door was her ex-husband, but he was only there to fix a broken refrigerator. Walter apologizes. As they walk together, they stop at a newsstand and see the final print issue of Life on sale. On the cover is photo 25. It shows Walter sitting outside the Life building, studying a contact sheet, the quiet quintessence of life Sean had chosen all along. The issue is dedicated to the staff. Walter and Cheryl smile. Instead of rushing to buy the magazine, Walter simply holds Cheryl's hand and chooses to live the moment, remembering Sean and everything the journey taught him. And with that, the film ends. This film asks a beautiful question. Is dreaming with open eyes right or wrong? Walter begins trapped in routine, fear, and silence, but when life shakes him, he steps into the unknown. Through loss, struggle, and courage, he finds purpose, connection, and the joy of truly living. Sometimes the destination is not the ending, it is the beginning of a new life.